Yo, what's up, guys? You guys have been asking where is the beginner account? Well, I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff on it. I'll go through it at first. I'll keep this running in the background. Main thing is we're going to be talking about this Giants team because it has some niche mechanic to it, which I actually haven't used before and haven't seen being used before. And it makes it where a very low rune requirement team would actually never fail and still does pretty fast runes without that much of runes. But first of all, for the people that do want to get a recap what I've been doing so far, I've been farming a good amount of Necro. Because with the Necro, I get at least some decent rage runes in, and with those decent rage runes, I can make a Giants team, and with the Giants, I can go faster into the Siege and into the Arena, which is the end goal of this account. Then we also do have the R5, of course. I have been doing a decent amount of R5 just to get in the first few grinds, just to help out that Giants team as well. And besides that, we have been preparing a whole bunch of units already that we could use for Siege or Arena later, such as the Claire, such as a Leo May. I've picked up an Amduet. This one was actually from a random pool. And for the Net 5s, might people ask, I did pick up a Vanessa. I picked up a Daphnis and Christina somewhere at the bottom over here. Juno and Poseidon. So Poseidon is definitely something that will be usable with the Geminis that I just got from the HOH. So for HOHs, I went for Gemini, I went for Amduet, I went for Leo May, and I went for Lucas. Didn't go for Luna just yet because I don't really have the rune requirements to make a Giants team with a Luna. So for that reason, I didn't necessarily straight up went for that. So yeah, right now it's just mainly focusing on, can I get my units to a certain point where I can already get 3 siege hits in? Because with 3 siege hits, I will be able to get contribution, and that is going to be the main idea. We currently are in a G1 guild, so thanks to Goat for allowing me to toy around in a G1 guild. I did try a few hits already last, or like on the Monday, but I noticed I was not really okay-ish on the speeds. Also, you can see that this is about like 10 levels ago. I'm not going to spoil the comps just yet, but you can definitely notice that I will be using some of those support units, and those support units are actually pretty good, especially the Martina, the Sonia, the Adriana. There's definitely a whole bunch of comps that I will be focusing on, but a lot of those units do need a bit swift. For that, we are into the Giants. So for the Giants team, what do we have over here? We're pretty much rocking a, I would say 40 to 50 second average. Well, 42 is the fast time, so let's say 50-second average. But there's some special mechanic to this team. It's pretty low in rune requirements. I don't have any kind of good artifacts. A little bit of artifacts with just damage on water would already help a whole bunch, which I might actually get first. Just do like some B7 or B8 just to get a little bit of artifacts of at least like 9% damage on water, because that's just straight up 10% or like 9% damage increase, which is an insane amount, which is definitely worth getting. So I might do that, mainly just for the left side artifact. But what is the special mechanic over here? Well, you do see this Konamiya being on Will. Will's not the special mechanic. There's actually a different set to it that is the special mechanic. And the special mechanic works this way. So he does go for that hit. We do get the armor break, but I lap. And normally you don't have a Konamiya that necessarily laps unless you make your Tasha pretty fast. Why does my Konamiya lap? It's actually on double Nemesis. And the double Nemesis is the trick over here, which does make it to a special kind of shape where it does actually do enough speed increase where it will always cut before the armor break. And that is the main thing. You do want your Konamiya to be able to cut before the armor break. So this is the Konamiya build. And it's just legit whatever runes that I found from the Necro. The Will set is there because I also use the Konamiya, of course, in R5. So I do want to have lapping over kind of stuff over there. The Prillia is really weak. I did get some fight runes from a craft event where you got that legendary fight runes. These are the only fight runes I have thus far. Set is really not making any sense. The slot 6 is resistance because that's the only fight rune I have that way. But just to add in a little bit more stats. The Tasha is looking like this right now. It does not have enough crit rate for the side crystals, but it doesn't really matter all too much if any of those units clean up the side crystals. So just going for a minimum in this case would be a 52 crit rate. Would already be fine. As mentioned, artifacts are legit non-existing. Like really non-existing. Should definitely change that out a little bit. Also for grinds, it's kind of half-ish grind, but also not really just yet. There definitely could be added in a lot more grinds. Then we have the Homunculus. It is not skilled up yet. Would definitely be a lot better with skill ups because then you have higher chance to armor break, more cooldown reduction, more damage, all of that kind of good stuff. But the set is also some kind of random rage set with some runes here and there. Artifacts, once again, pretty much non-existing. They just have the base stats. And then we have the Shaman, which is pretty much same thing. It is more focused on damage on dark. Still could actually, the moment I switch more to water, which I am doing right now. Do I have anyone that's happened to be damage on water? 13 on water. That's straight up 13% damage increase right there. Like those are the kind of things you're looking for. I don't have them on wind. I did already check that. But yeah, that is an insane amount of damage increase. And you can already pick up the blue ones on a relatively low stage in SF. So definitely would recommend to do that. At least for the Teshar one and one for the Homunculus. It is a lot easier to get one on the Shaman because Shaman doesn't really give a shit about what kind of base there is. On these two, of course, you want to have the wind base. So that is the main thing that I've been farming over there. Besides that, still been doing a decent amount of Necro, and it just takes a bit of time to actually get good enough runes in. As mentioned, I did already try some of the hits in Siege last week, or not last week, but Monday. But it did not really work out that well. Main reason is a lot of the things that you do want to hit do need some form of outspeed. A lot of the hits that I've crafted or got ideas of do need some kind of swift. So since there is the Shaina and there is the Martina and the Triana, I can go for a, where are we at? Shaina, Martina, Triana by only adding in the Shaina. But the base stats of this thing is super slow and super squishy. So you would have to go for a swift Shaina to actually make it work. Therefore, I'm in Giants right now. Also, if I want to use a team like this, would need a decent amount of swift. If I want to use a team like this, need a decent amount of swift. This team is also something that I can add in with the Leica. So let's say we go for this. I do think that this is a team, if they don't have any form of multi-hits, that could actually get a win here and there. They do also have a Sonya in there. It is 90 crit rate. I did try the Sonya last week. I'll show a clip of that in a second. It immediately missed critical 90. I'm like, God damn it. Really now? Also, annoying thing is you can right away see by the speeds, this thing is outspeeding that thing. So you would have to make your own unit that would pair with a Sonya, and you could go for an Adriana somewhere else. I do also have the option to go for a snipe like this, but once again, kind of is looking more swift related. So the things that I do want to hit, this is more of a bruiser hit. And any of the other fights, I would say is more towards like swift related, trying to snipe something else. And for that reason, I am in Giants right now. But at least I got a pretty solid Giants team. I am planning, however, to remove the Teshar at a later point, because it is just simply fitting better to have a different unit than the Teshar. Because the Teshar in the end is only for Giants. Sure, it's really good for Giants. Sure, you're mainly farming Giants. But if your account is strong enough, you can definitely farm Giants in like a million different ways. It's going to be slower, most likely, but you also don't have infinite crystals in most cases. So I will be removing that. I did already pick up a pretty strong defense. I did mention those units already. I would say that this is a defense you could see towards Guardian 1, Guardian 2. Is it the craziest out there? Absolutely not, but it is at least a little bit decent, where I would say if I get a decent replacement for the Pheromones, I would be looking at a decent defense already. Offense-wise, I have been thinking something along the lines of this. I did pick up the Gemini just now. I can go for a Galleon and a Poseidon and then speed boost that. Do you think that would be pretty strong? Is it going to be the best thing out there? Absolutely not. But it's also going to be depending on like, okay, what kind of other units do I pull in the future? Because there's still an event in here. I did pick up most of the stuff already in this event, which is the ones where you have these 200. Then you get a bunch of stuff over here, which I'm working on right now. This is where I picked up the fight runes that I did mention earlier. You can pick up a decent amount of good grinds as well over here, which I will do. These are pretty decent. These are just a bunch of nice stuff. But what you might have not noticed yet is this one over here is actually a really good buy. The first scroll is just 30. Whereas if you buy the scrolls over here, there are 50. Sure, they go up in price, but the first few scrolls you buy over here are actually super cheap. Also, another event that's further down at the bottom is this one, where you can start crafting Hero Plus runes. And as I always mention, hero plus equals fight. The moment you can go for heroes, you want to put that into fight. And this is your main way that you get your fight runes. So the moment I get these, it's going to be a lot easier to farm giants and also dragons and also necro. Well, necro not really. Necro doesn't really use too much of fight runes. Can still use a few here and there. But especially giants, dragons, and also R5 is going to be a lot easier the moment that I unlock this. So right now, the main thing is just to get as many coins as possible. And the main way you do that is either farm. I think R5 is probably the fastest way to farm it. Otherwise, it's going to be like farming whatever main dungeon you're doing on Abyss Heart. Because with the Abyss Hearts, you get like 3 per. And that is the main thing you do want to go for and you do want to aim for. So I will be doing a whole bunch of that. I will be trying out the Siege tomorrow. Oh, I did tell you that I was going to show you that one clip of one of the replays that I did earlier. So you can see some of the teams that I did earlier. But this is that one team that I did earlier where I was like, okay, I just make my Galleon outspeed my Sonya. So if we go for this, and remember, 90 crit rate, first try. I was like, yeah, that's nice right there. That's real nice right there. So we definitely have to figure out a little bit of better teams right there to make it work. We did try out the Shina Martina Triana in the last one, which I definitely do think I can get better ones in the future because at this point I didn't have pretty much any grinds. But this is already a team that you should be picking up these units the moment that you do have at least a Shina, and picking up a Shina, most people should have like a Shina by now. And Martina just does do an insane amount of damage. That's still definitely a thing, and that thing just does so much damage. So those are the main things that I am going to be aiming for this account. Tomorrow will be the video on the Siege. I will be a little bit tryhard. Also, in the first month, you can still free re-rune all the time. So especially if you're trying out some Siege at the start, re-rune everything all the time that you have for your hits. Put your best runes to it all together. But if that's actually going to work out to get the 3 hits in, well, the 3 victories in, because last time I only had 1 victory and I tried about like 5 hits, we have to up those numbers to actually get the reward. But then again, main thing on this video is also, if your run is failing on your giants and you have been doing a little bit of necro before, put your Konamiya on double Nem. It needs to be 2. Just 1 is not enough. But the double Nem will make it where you will never get hit by the armor break of the boss. Or at least you get hit by the armor break of the boss. But he will never actually do a proper hit at that time. And that is the main important thing. And I think I've seen a whole bunch of people like, oh, I don't have the rune quality yet. I need better runes to actually make this team work. Not really. Just have to avoid the armor break. That's all to it. So if we check another round over here, also at that point, it doesn't really matter what skills you do. Might you ask like, oh, is the Homunculus hard to get? No, the Homunculus you legitimately get for free through events. It's super easy to get. So in this case, we do have that hit. That is still kind of fine, but at least we don't get the second hit. If we didn't have Nemesis, we would have had the second hit on the armor break as well. And that is the main thing. If you get 2 hits on the armor break, you're pretty much done for. If you get 1 hit on the armor break, you can mostly survive. So that is the main thing, and that is how we're running a, I would say, 50-second average or something, with, once again, pretty low rune requirements. Those runes are nothing special whatsoever. They are a little bit better, but then again, keep in mind, my Bale is still runed. All of my units that I do use for any of the other dungeons, they are still runed. So this is a complete set next to it to make it work that way. Does everyone have Nemesis runes right away for Konamiya? No, but I would actually recommend to do the same route as I've been doing. I would say Necro first, then go into R5, then go into Giants, and from there transition into Siege and Arena. And then from there, you can always start to focus on Dragons later. I would definitely say Dragons later, and the main reason for that is Dragons is really endgame PvP bruiser style. And if you want to start getting into Siege, it's more about you cleave something to death. You insta-win or you lose. Like the moment they start proccing, you lose regardless. Because you don't have enough defense, you don't have enough stats, you don't have enough HP, you're not going to survive. But if you can start off a fight, and in my case, a Deafness could one-shot something, or you have the Sniper, where he adds... You have this thing, he can one-shot something because he got boosted by this thing, and you did outspeed. You kill 2 units straight off the bat. You can use it with a Kali as well. then that is where you do get your victories in. Or if you start using a team with a Robo and a Claire and they never take a turn because you also put something else next to it that pushes back the attack bar. I actually tried that with a Poseidon, nearly worked out. Didn't have any artifact damage. If I had some artifact damage for multi-hits, would have actually worked. But if they never take a turn, you can actually win. And those are the main things that you have to focus on early game Siege and Arena. And then later comes Fire Runes, where you start like bruisering out things and that kind of stuff. But that is definitely later. So the first month in the game, or maybe even 2-3 months, I wouldn't even touch Dragons. Whereas, sure, Dragons is the easiest dungeon to start farming because of getting the third Lauren Varamos +2. It's super easy to farm. But you're not really going to get that far with early game Violent Runes, I would say. Definitely focus on those Swift Runes. Focus on Will Runes. Will Runes also very important if something outspeeds you, but they don't have any strips. Will Runes, once again, insanely good. Rage Runes also insanely good because it's just boosting your account to do all of the other dungeons a lot easier. So once again, we see over here, I do take that counter, but before this thing moves, we just shake it off. And that is the main thing that you want to be aiming for. So that's definitely a nice trick right there. Could you say, what's a replacement for the Homunculus? You could go for a Lin over there. You could go for a Luna over there. But with Luna, you need enough damage to actually make it work. Shaman, you already have for your Necro team, so you might as well just make it work. The Homunculus, you can put it in there because you legitimately get a Homunculus for free in one of those events. I think it is... I think it's this one. Or this one. No, wait, this one. This one you get like pretty much your Homunculus for free. So just pick up the Homunculus for free. Make it into Wind if you're not familiar with what build you need for the Homunculus, which could be a thing. Homunculus needs to be in this build. So, wait, if I show it through here, you actually do see the build. Makes things a little bit easier. Probably skills. Yep, we can check that in here. Can we check that in here at the moment? Nope, not you. You. Homunculus. Can we check the build? Nope, we can't check the build. Well, first skill. Annoying. Let's just end the run and then we go for it. Yay, another victory. As always, super easy. 45 seconds, definitely not that bad. Even averaging 47, so sub 50 seconds on pretty bad runes. Not that bad at all. So as I was mentioning, for the Homunculus, this is the skill tree that you do want to follow. And I wouldn't go for anything else because it's just focusing on damage enemy max HP plus defense break, damage enemy max HP plus defense break, and then, no wait, this doesn't have defense break. It's the extra damage because you can stun, and then this is the damage enemy max HP plus a defense break. So max HP, max HP, max HP. If you don't remember it exactly anymore, just go for the max HP, enemy max HP. That's all you need. And that's all there is for this video. So guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Hope to see you in the next one because I'm going to be trying out Siege on a beginner account, which might go really bad. Or maybe we get away in a G1 Siege right away. Who knows? It definitely will be an interesting one. If your Giants team is failing, getting that Konamiya on those Nemesis runes will definitely help you out a whole bunch. So definitely do check that out or do mention it to your friends the moment that they do see that issue. And it's just mainly an issue of having too little damage. If you had way more damage, wouldn't be an issue whatsoever. But if you are very low on the damage, this is the way to make it work. Because once again, we have this hit over there. We have that hit over there. It kind of depends when they do come with a counter. But in this case, we do still survive. We get that in. And now we don't get a full-on damage hit on an armor break. Because if we did get that full damage hit on an armor break, we would have had a dead shaman over there, and we would have probably had a lot more things dead in the first place. So that is the main thing you don't want to have. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I see you as always in the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.